everybody. I apologize for being a little late here this morning. We're in the middle of a winter storm, and we got about, I'd say, approaching about 5 inches now. Today of snow. We've already had before this, I don't know, about 8 to 10 inches in the last couple of days. So I had to go out there. I wanted to shovel. I needed to run up to the store, but I walked up there. As most of you know, I don't drive because my left eye can't see out of, and it just, as I got older, once I hit 40, became very obvious that I was more of a danger to other drivers and myself. So I had to make a tough decision. So I walked up there. It's about a mile, well, 3/4 of a mile. So it's about a mile and a half there and back. It was a nice brisk walk. Shoveled the snow and set this up. So I appreciate everybody's patience. I first just want to thank everybody for being here, first of all, being able to watch this together. There's been, even though the charts, even with XRP, and I'll show you why it's a bear pennant. And yes, some will be like, oh, Tom, it's a symmetrical triangle. Correct. But when you form a bullish or bearish pennant, it starts off symmetrical triangle, and then it's up to your own observation and understanding. A pennant is between a 60 and 70% probability that it'll play out. So it gives you better than not odds. But the reason why it's a bearish pennant and not a bullish pennant when you come into this particular symmetrical triangle across crypto is because it's coming through in a downward fashion, which creates a bear flag, or better known as a bear pennant, which is nothing more than a symmetrical triangle defined by the direction it comes in. But if you want to learn more about that, there will be an opportunity for you to join my classes starting February 2nd. And that's up to all of you if you want to join it or not. But every single day we're going to do these lives. We're going to do it exactly the same way, whether I'm doing classes or not. But if you want to, it's right here. I'll pin it on this very live. I think we have 18 people signed up, so it'll be very nice. And that'll be 8 hours a month. So twice a week, 1 hour a day. So 2 hours a week, 8 hours a month, blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, we'll go over this bearish pennant. We'll go over some of the news with XRP, which I didn't even put in the title because I wanted everybody to know that there is a crash warning. The bear pennant that could take us to $1.58, which would fill out a descending triangle to see where we stand. And it would also be a third hit, so either we would triple bottom or that would be where we would fall through. But I didn't sugarcoat it this morning like a lot of others would. And I even said a couple days ago that I went liquid much heavier after that small push up on, what was it, Friday? So I was very clear. I wasn't sitting in this. I thought XDC is not an anomaly. It was telling us exactly what was coming. And I thought having a lot of liquidity on the sideline made a lot of sense here. And I'm not a financial advisor, so you have to do what you will. But we're going to wait this out in the proper way. And if it gives us validation, we're going to dive in heavy. But there's no reason for us to be exit liquidity. There's never a reason for that. Good morning. 11:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, January 25th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, better known as Future XRP Future Pizza Maker, and I reside in the great state of Michigan, which I'm going to share another pizza that I made. Yesterday I refined it. I did a 12-inch stretch to 16, and it was the best one we've ever made. I found a New York style type of sauce that embodied it. And I found a better mozzarella. And I'll just say that pizza, man. Oh, it was good. It was some good pizza. Some good pizza. That was the best one I've made. I showed it before and after. I didn't cut it up, but I showed the before I cooked it. And I have a really nice commercial grade oven. When I redid my kitchen, it's much too nice of a kitchen. But guys, this is what I was worried about. When you're in a bearish pennant, this is the problem. This is why I did not sugarcoat it yesterday. I showed every reason why. And now we're falling outside of the bearish pennant. It doesn't matter how oversold we are. Remember, when you're oversold, it just means the direction. It means that you have an overwhelming amount of sellers in this area. It doesn't, just because you can stay oversold for a long time. a long time, and it did us a disservice by coming up. It really did. So I'm looking, once again, we're going to be, well, this chart isn't even the one you really want to look at, if I'm being honest. You got to first look at this and see if we're setting up to $1.70, or if we're setting up for this right here, which we've drawn out. There's speculation both ways. We don't know what it's going to do, but a descending triangle is a bearish consolidation, remember. And it's confined by downtrending resistance, which creates lower highs after a volatile push up. So here's the difference. Volatile push up. This would be a bullish consolidation had we have come back up. And we've been talking about this, I feel like, for the better part of a couple of weeks. And my video did the worst. My live yesterday did the worst a live has done in some time with the amount of views. Because I was bearish in the title, and I've been, and my views are going way down. I only got like 800 views. The last two of them that I talked about the bearish pennant, no one's watching. Nobody. Nobody's talking about, or nobody's watching the lives that are telling you what's going to happen in the downward moment. Look how little of views people are looking at the live. No joke. When you start looking at it, it's insane. You know? And I even talked about that video too, but every time I talk about the lower numbers, nobody watches. It gets 1,000 views. The last couple of days has been pretty embarrassing. 800 views. 800 views to keep us ahead. But if I put on some bullshit, just an example, I'm doing a case study on fucking Facebook, and it's proof.
The toilet paper came
In the middle of a blizzard. But it's almost like a case study. It's almost embarrassing, the difference by doing it like this. I mean, 1.4 million views in the last 14 days. 112,000 yesterday. The lowest I've had is 69,000 since switching this. This is the first day I started it, and then it just boom, 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 boom. Just because it's more conspiracy, satire, and things like that, it's embarrassing that I can pull 10 times the viewers, 100 times the viewers, 1,000 times the viewers. But when we show the reality of where we're going and how to get there, nobody wants to watch. It's one of those things, man. You can tell people until you're blue in the face, this is what's going to happen. But I always tell people, I don't need to short the market. I make money by understanding where the market's going before it's going. By being so liquid, this drop right here has made me thousands in the last couple of days.
How many scoops of chocolate do you put in your mom's hot chocolate? 6.
Of the teaspoons, though. I don't use tablespoons.
Do you use heapings?
Oh, yes. That's how I do ours, too. But that's just being real, and it's not, this isn't to be mean. This is just the reality of the situation. More people would like to hear, and I tell good stuff on Facebook. There's no doubt about it. I can do it in a different way. And it's one of those things like that story I did for Facebook and YouTube about the person who lost that money. On Facebook, it's got 20,000 views on the first one. On YouTube, it's got about 1,700. So there is more viability, but now the question is, let's get back on track. Now the question is two things. One, on this drop, is this an overzealous dropout? Which I doubt it is, but right now we're going to have to see, because now you would get confirmation one way or the other. I don't know, because it's just started the drop. We could very well just fall out in a quick heap. And this isn't good. Oh, this isn't good. This isn't good by no means. But this is the bearish pennant playing out as we expected. It's not our fault. We even set up in the short term. You know, I gave a little bit yesterday, the short pattern, and I just said, listen, once this falls out, you come down here and it's not going to hold if this fell out. It needs to push out and break $1.94 and get out of this zone, which it wasn't suggesting that. The pattern's bearish. And I said yesterday, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules, but I'm not going to lie to my audience. Like, we're bearish, and I've been saying it. You know, until it reverses, we are in a bear market, which means the trend is down. We can try to lie to ourselves as much as we want, but as I always tell everybody, every single time we get in these runs, you can either be honest with yourself or you can be the exit liquidity. Honestly, I prefer you not to be the exit liquidity. I've been doing this every single day since March 24th of 2021 without exception. I've not missed a single day of doing this. So the market can't get anything past me. I've put myself in a position where I can watch this, and so can all of you, every single day in real time. Some people give me credit and say, I can't believe how accurate your charts are day by day. Some people want to kick me in the dick. Yesterday, I was getting mocked heavily in the comments during the live. A lot of praise, but a lot of, kicks in the face and teeth, kind of. And I even ended it saying, thank you to my lovers, basically, and also the ones who punched me in the nuts today. Because it's true. You need the ones who are happy and sad. You need the ones who give praise and the ones who give doubt. Because then it puts you in the middle. You never want to get too high or too low. Speaking of which, the charts don't look good, but we did have some good news. In Phoenix, Arizona, because I do monitor all news, and you would know this if you were on the Facebook, and I'm going to do a standalone post for YouTube. I just didn't want to put it in the title because I want everybody to heed the warning. It's that simple. Test pilot XRP for payment. Yes, this is actually happening. So reports from late January 2026 indicate that select KFC locations in Phoenix, Arizona have been spotted piloting XRP as a payment option, which is pretty cool. It may now be accepted at select locations in Phoenix, Arizona, signaling a potential step towards mainstream crypto adoption. It doesn't seem like a lot. It'll get buried because of the price charts, but that's pretty cool. So they're testing XRP as payment at select locations in Phoenix, Arizona, in their test piloting program. So I don't know how many of you have heard that news, but I think that's pretty cool. Personally, I think that's some pretty cool stuff. We have a nice overhead gap that's going to be left from Friday. The CME gap from Friday is up at $1.9205, and now we got about a 7-cent differential, or about 3.6%. We'll have to look today to see how the futures market opens with mining or gold and silver. As we know, gold closed just under 5,000. Platinum was up over 2,700, but the story of the day was silver was up 7.38%, or at $103.26. An even bigger story developing is what the actual prices of silver equate to, which if you follow my Facebook page, I had a lot of mine stuff this morning, so I put a lot of stuff out here on Facebook. So when you go to the rest of the world, it's roughly about $140. And I tried to sneak it on here on paper. It's $100 an ounce in the USA. Physical in China is around $145, and in Japan it's around $165. So when you look at the disparity of the pricing, but this is why sometimes I talk, and when we're talking about the price, fluctuations, we say it can happen quick. Now we had that wick down to 184. It bounced back up. Now, could this be a logical double bottom? Or is it just going to break through? That's where we're at together this morning, and I would love to know. I would love to know by the audience. It would be an awesome thing to hear what my audience thinks. If you appreciate what I do, if you want to pay it forward, if you want to become one of the greatest sponsors in the history of a program, as my program is sponsored by only one, and many in that, the members of Tom's Army sponsor this individually. I have no sponsors that I've taken for branding my content. I've denied them all. And to this point, it's just been by the good faith, the good love, the good thanks of the members of Tom's Army who single-handedly fund this program. They're the best sponsor and the most unique sponsor one could have. It's not an entity. It's a group of many who understand the struggle. So I appreciate everybody in Tom's Army who single-handedly sponsor this show, so you don't have to watch a advertisement during this live unless it's in rerun, so that you don't have to me spew off for the next 2 minutes about somebody sponsoring this program, because that's what would happen in the beginning, middle, or end of each live. So thank you to the members of Tom's Army. Just Send It said, would paying with XRP at KFC be a taxable event? That is the grand question. That is the grand question. I don't know. I don't know. That's the worst part about paying with crypto, because when I pay with my crypto Visa debit card, it's hard to tell. We'll see how it looks when they send me my tax stuff from crypto.com. It's not supposed to be, but something tells me I may be paying taxes on it even though I shouldn't be. Because I did have to send the money from USDT into that account after all. So, so we'll see what they do. But yeah, that's the best question of all. It's the best question of all. Silver days. Just send it. I appreciate you being in Tom's Army now 6 months with the XP Predictor, allowing me to put this content how I need to. Same with Mrs. Stott and Plant Good Seas and Sola Jeffy and Mr. Stott. And let's see who else. Totally Awesome. And XRP John Hall and Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteors. Train, good morning. Crypto Cooter, very trusted out of here in the Telegram, and Tom's Army for 1 year, along with John Boogathorpe, the Cannabis Podcast. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. Mark Caston, Silver Days also. Thanks for the $2 super chat. And being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Autos Crypto News says, thank you, Tom, for showing up every day. I wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't miss it. Let's see. Devin, thanks for being a very trust mod and in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XP Diamond Hand. But what a generous son of a gun Devin is. Thank you, Devin. I appreciate it. And Joseph also in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge and sending a $20 super chat. Super generous this morning. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Euler. Also, the most generous person I've ever seen gifting subs to my audience. Him and 1970 Legend are literally legends for gifting subs to a lot of people in this audience. Luke Bradshaw and RC, good morning. I don't know, Luke, if it'll be a quick recovery. We have to see how this setup continues to form, but this is the problem. When you fall out of bearish pennants, they usually go quick. Now, if we break a double bottom, which could extend down to $1.81 technically, I would say, or hold $1.77 at worst, we should come down to $1.58 with that descending triangle that seems like it's trying to either form a triple bottom or be the straw that breaks the camel's back, so to say. I seen some that I missed that were in Tom's Army. Let's see. Just send it. I know I talked to you guys, but in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Jason, good morning. E, welcome in. Matthew, welcome. I'll try to get to some of the comments, but I'm trying to get to the other members as well. Florida and Brett, good morning. Who did I miss? Trading with J-Ride, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge. Says hit the like button. About half, 56% have hit the like button in my math. Quick math. Sharon, good morning, love, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens, and that is my face superimposed on this emoji badge. Yes, Poppy Lewin, thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Says, show it, I'm a pizza man. I own a pizzeria in PA. No shish kebabs. Holy camoles. Or how about this? I'll upload it onto YouTube, but for the members only until this live is over, so it doesn't interrupt the promoting of my video, and then I can show you it. How about that? Let's see. I'll just go cooking with XRP Future Millionaire New York style pizza, homemade. And what I did was I've been practicing 12-inch stretch to 16-inch. Who knows? Nobody will probably watch this, but I don't care. I don't care. If my audience watches it, that like the members who want to see this, that's all that matters. I'll put it on let's see. What time is it? I'll make it post to YouTube at like 2:00 so it doesn't interfere with this live. But it'll be for members only now. So it'll go for members only. So anybody who's a not paid, but anybody who's actually subscribed to my channel will be able to see this. So I'll show it after. But I did it a couple days ago too, and that video actually got 883 views, which is interesting. So, but I had to modify it, so I'll show you both of them. Let's see. That makes me happy that people are interested in things besides. Yeah, sorry, Dennis. I was a little bit late. Had a little bit of snow I had to shovel, and I had to go up to the store for my mom and Julie, but I walked. So it was about a mile and a half in the snow and stuff between the walk up and back. They didn't know I left. I just left. Tom, what would be your area or areas to watch for on XLM to buy? Ooh, we'll go over that. What? And we've been making our own dough from scratch. You know, from that we've been trying to find we had a farm flour, but we didn't really like that one, so we tried a different one. Kind of like that one better. I went through like 4 different sauces now. We've only done it 4 times now, so we've made or what is it? 3, 1, 2. 3 or 4. I think 3 or 4 now. But this time was the best. This time, to me, it was the best. So here, before we continue this, I'll just show because we have a pizza man in the audience. So the first one I did. So if you guys want to see, you can always hit the like button on it when you go watch it. This was the first one, how it came out. So that's how the first one looked. It was too thick though, because we didn't stretch it from 12 to 16 inches. But that was the first one when I finally started getting the consistency right. And then I did this one. Okay, so I'm attempting to make a New York style pizza. This is attempt number 2, as I made one the other day here on YouTube. This is Cooking with XRP Future Millionaire. I did a 12-inch and I stretched it into a 16-inch crust, so we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated. Let's hope for the best. I'll show you when it gets cooked. This was also done. We did the homemade dough. We made it ourselves, and yeah, it's all fresh homemade ingredients, so we'll see how it goes. Putting it in and closing the oven. So here's the pizza after cooking in the oven. I think it came out pretty darn good style-wise. I haven't cut it yet, but I just wanted to show this before I cut into it. The bottom, I guess you can't really complain about that. It looks pretty good. It's got the nice flat bottom like I like. Looks pretty thin. So this was try 2. Let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so I'm attempting... That one actually epitomized what I wanted to do with the pizza, so I was pretty happy with that one. That one was real thin. It could still be stretched out more, but it actually came out really good. In my oven, because it's like a commercial grade oven that you would see in a fancy restaurant, I told you I went above and beyond in my kitchen when I updated it. My house should not have a kitchen that nice. When people walk in, they can't believe it because it's not big enough to have a kitchen like that. It doesn't seem. But yeah, if you're ever trying to make a New York style, the key really is you have to make a smaller prep, like a 12-inch, and you have to try to stretch it to a 16 or 18 or whatever you can stretch it to. And that's, to me, is the secret. I thought about it long and hard, like what really is the definition here, and it's true. Oh no, that was that part of the undercarriage. You should see when I turned it around, that spot was the worst spot I could have showed. The undercarriage was actually really good. It was not, there was no holiness. It was actually very firm. That one spot where I actually picked it up, there was a hole in the pizza because I separated the dough. So I wish I would have turned it to show it. Oh, he would have complained about more than just that. But for attempt number 4, I'm pretty happy. It still needs to get thinner and crispier though. It still needs a little thinner. But I found a flour that I like. It makes it more like yeah, I'm actually going to try to make it more square because I think I could do it more like a New Haven style with the way that the dough tastes, which if anybody knows New Haven, it's like the best pizza ever, but we can't get that here. So I think I'm going to try to imitate that next time and try to make it more square, thin, but the more rectangle, I guess you could say, not square. But anyhow. The flour is what the hell is it called? It's a specific flour. Let's see. We gotta get back to XRP though. Obviously, it's under $1.85, but I appreciate I appreciate everybody trying to who appreciate some other stuff. I do. It makes the world go round. So let's see. I had in the pizza sauce. I had to get it from Aldi's though because it doesn't have any added bullshit in it. Um, but it's a New York style pizza sauce from Del Grosso. It's like an Italian style. But it's actually that was the one that to me it mimicked the best. But the one for the pizza, and I've gone through a couple of them now. It's a Neapolitan style you have to buy through, and you can find them in different ones. But the one that we kind of like, and it doesn't have a lot of added ingredients, is it's a called it's by King Arthur, but it's 00 pizza flour, and it's the Neapolitan style. So I think that's a great one to use, and it gives a nice thing. But anyhow, Mr. Stott said XR pizza. I'm gonna have to be XR pizza, man, if this continues. I'm starting my new craft just in case XRP. No, I'm just kidding. Um, but no, it would be nice. But I'm trying not to order anything out anymore. So like we started making our own bagels, we started making our own breads, we started making our own biscuits, and now pizza, and there's just a lot of stuff. I'm trying to make everything homemade. And Julie's good at it, so she could teach a lot. Have to open our own little restaurant soon. I make great chicken and steak and breaded. I use very light breading, but I make it really good. Only cook in extra virgin olive oil if I'm cooking, on something on the stove. But you got to keep the heat a little bit lower. Make it a cooking show. I am a good cook. I'm a good Italian cook, so we make a lot of good stuff. But now the next thing is making our own pasta, or baista. We used to call it on my mom's side, baista and spaghetti or sugu, and people didn't know what I was talking about. My Italian side used to look at I was crazy because you got your sauce and your. But yeah, it's nice. We should open we could open a little stand. Even the baking stuff we're good at. Bake goods, everything. Sent XDC into your Facebook messages for the co-live. Ooh, I wish I looked into my Facebook. I need to look. I'll look at my Facebook just because you sent it, but I never look in messengers because people get scammed in Messenger because there's so many pages that imitate me. So I try not to go in Messenger at all. But I will. I'll look at it because of you. But with XRP, so the technical target falling down out of this bearish pennant, and we can measure it. It's just you measure the size of the pennant, and now you can go up higher because if you look at this in a different way, obviously we fell out of a couple different things. We rejected perfectly. But if you weren't here for the beginning, I gave the explanation. So on the eyesight, you'd look at this and say, hey, we have lower highs, higher lows converging into a triangle. Well, by definition, that's a symmetrical triangle, Tom. And I won't argue with you. That is absolutely correct. And thank you, Totally Awesome, for the $2 super chat, as well as being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. But we're coming down in a downward fashion. Like the trend is down. The trend is down. And if you look at it a little more objectively, when you look at how this is forming, you're actually creating a nice little pull here. So you actually have a pull. So that's actually by definition a bearish pennant, which is a bear flag. The bear flag target would get us down just from what is set up in front of us would be like $1.73. Now, there is one other thing that can happen. We've talked about it. Unless we're double bottoming this flush, which would be interesting because here's another funny thing. And it would be funny if it ended like this. Maybe not to you guys, but I think it would be hilarious. Look. If it ends just like this and this actually taps the bottom and it goes back up and retests somewhere, now, just listen. What did it went from a bearish pennant with a technical target down to, what did we say, $1.74. And now because it stopped, this is kind of hilarious when you look at it. So $1.74 $1.74-ish. We'll say $1.73 upper area. It's like $1.73.8-ish. We'll just say there. The funny part is where this stopped. It stopped exactly where it has a flat support. Do you know what a lower highs and a flat support is on a downward trend? Does anybody know what this evolved into just now? If this is what it's going to try to do to back test? Just out of curiosity. And this is what's cool about the chart. Does anybody know what that extended into now? Actually, you know what? Could we say that's a downward still? Or is that flat? If it's flat, it turned into a descending triangle on the fly. Now, if it goes high, if it goes farther, it could be a falling wedge. But right now, I don't know, because right now it looks more like a descending triangle. Although it is slightly, it's a slight tug, because over here it's at $1.8484, $1.8453. Eesh, that's kind of close. By definition, you could almost use that as a descending triangle over a falling wedge, which would be very interesting if that's the case. We're legitimately in the hot zone here, guys. For anybody watching this morning, we are legitimately in the hot zone. Well, not outside. It's snowing outside pretty damn hard. We've already got over, I believe, 5 inches today. I'm not sure they're gonna have school tomorrow, to be honest. Oh, if we have any bullish bounce, what you would want to see is it sweep that $1.73 and finish off this movement, and then try to do so. I know it's crazy, but we want it to do something like this if it falls out, and then try to get some kind of expansive pullback. You know, we're gonna have to try to do something to build this out if it falls. We got to get some kind of steam. If we just bounce from here, I mean, it could be, I don't know. It just, every single time up, there just doesn't seem to be any kind of stability. Look at that sell candle in the hourly. That's also a signal here. I know it doesn't look like much, but volume predicts price. These bounce ups, you had 62,000 and 50,000 on this pull down in the hourly, and there's still 28 minutes left. You've had 526,000. Excuse me. Much easier to find sells than buys in this kind of a market. But we need to see now. We need to see how it reacts. Nothing can go straight down. So are we just coming up for a mild push? Are we going to try to retest that drop? Are we going to try to figure something deeper out? Like, are we trying to push into the descending wedge? Because that's definitely something else I could see if you take out that wick. So we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out what's going on. So it's why you have to have drawings. You have to look at this in a way like you got to open your mind. You have to open your mind. Because this pattern's evolving in real time. And if you miss it, you miss it. Because right now, technically, you've got one hit of support, 2 hits of support, 1 hit, 2, 3 of resistance. You know, so we're evolving right now. Just depends which evolution you want to make. And I don't know what this is going to do. Is this like something like this? Because it's starting to create it now. So we're definitely evolving in something. And then look how perfectly that'll match up. Like, sometimes it just makes sense. Because now you've got the resistance up here. Resistance coming through. You've got support coming down. Now, again, this doesn't look good if it breaks through it. This looks horrible if this breaks down. These are, in many ways, you're getting these bearish consolidations. We're getting bearish consolidations. Is there any hope? Not if it falls out of this, it's going to get ugly. This is basically somebody needs to step in now, or we're going to go from down 3.1% to down 13% before we can even blink. We're getting to that part. Oh, yeah, it's on illusion. You better believe it. We need to round out, or we are going to lose $1.80. Axelar, I mean, take it for what it's worth. It dropped down to 6 cents before that move. Get all excited, but remember, Axelar started even a few months ago at 60 cents, 50 cents, even up to 30 cents. So it's great that it went from 6 to 8 or 9 cents, but it's at 9 cents. Let's pay attention. That token has turned into complete dog wash now. They basically, that's what it looks like to have a dying token in real time. They basically, all of the creators basically left it, stole all the money from the ecosystem, sold out, but didn't take the actual token and took a payday. And now everybody who was left holding it from dollars, 50, 75 cents. I mean, it's great that if you got it at 6 cents and you wrote it up to 8 cents or 9 cents, because I did see it moving. I always look across the markets. So I seen it move from the low to mid 6 range to almost to 9 cents. But let's just be honest with what's going on. Look, it already cut down from 25 to 13. So to me, this just seems like another pump and dump by a trash token. Because, I mean, the only good thing is you had a little bit of volume coming in. So you can't just say it was a complete volumeless push up, because that's some volume. Like, that's the first sign of volume in a long time. So this is the question. Is this where something actually comes in? Or is this just orchestrated move before a further pull down to grab some liquidity? It's hard to tell because you have bottom. You could say maybe it was form. Oh, fuck. Okay, well, if it fell back within, that's probably not good. I didn't realize it had fallen that far because the last time I seen it was at 8 point something. Yeah, it fell back within. That is so crazy. That was quick. That was really quick how it did that. Because now you're in this bearish channel. It almost looks like a bearish. I don't know if it's bearish, but it's in a channel. But that volume, though, the volume predicts price. If we can continue some volume, I know we have a mid-tier hit we could hit right here. Around 10.5. We'll see how this continues. We'll see. Because that volume, for a minute at least, unless this is just a trap, but just be aware, like if this is breaking out, it's got to be over 8.6 cents roughly. So the fact that fell back within here is back in that channel, which you could say is a bearish pennant forming. Nah, maybe not a bearish pennant. What could we say this is? Fuck. Because if you say that's just a dump out and an overzealous dump at that, see, this is where it gets weird. Because then you could say it actually isn't a symmetrical triangle, which would be a bear pennant. This is all too weird, the way this is set up. And for Axler to pull that volume, I'm going to give it the ability. Like, you just break out of here at 8.7 before you break down at 7.2. That's what we're going to look at it as. We're going to make it, we're going to force it into this pattern and say, you are actually in a symmetrical triangle, and I don't care what kind of horse shit you give us to the downside or the upside. You're going to prove that that's not a bearish pennant, okay? Just like the rest of the market. I'm okay with that. We'll see what it does. So, interesting thing with Bitmine. Who was it? Who bought in? Not Bitmine. MicroStrategy. What company was it? I seen it this morning. Shit. I knew I should have saved it. It actually goes into our MicroStrategy play if we ever do end up breaking out. If we... Oh, Vanguard. Yeah, Vanguard. That's it. Vanguard. So the biggest news was Vanguard bought MicroStrategy. It was purchasing 2.91 million shares valued at 505 million. Have I been talking about that MicroStrategy play instead of Bitcoin? And now all of a sudden on Friday, I believe it was, or the last week or so, fucking Vanguard's been buying into MicroStrategy. I don't know about you guys, but I like Vanguard where they start putting their money. They're one of the biggest, the world's biggest asset managers. So what do you make of that news about MicroStrategy? I'm starting to think, like I've said, instead of investing in crypto when we have rallies, you invest in the actual companies that are the largest holders of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I've drawn out this and said, what if we do come down here and this doesn't break down? Or what if it breaks down and we find the right spot? So we're just trying to find the right spot. So I think this, if we continue, this is going to open way down. And it's convenient that the market would show that, because this is not bullish yet. But when it becomes bullish, you know, either a breakout and hold or a continuation down and we find a lower level. Well, I mean, that's a great observation, Frankie Fresh. And thanks for being in town over six, or what is that? 6+ months with the XRP predictor. And Janine, love, I hope you're having a great start to your Sunday. So blessed to have both of you in here. Um, but that's an observation to be had, and a good one at that, Frankie Fresh, because think about it. Isn't it crazy that the XRP ledger is ISO compliant, but XRP's not? Every time I say that, people get mad. Um, but it's true. It's true though. You know that's the truth. But I don't think the ROUSD token is the killer of XRP. I think it puts it in its own lane. It tells you where the main focus and the banks are going to be with XRP. Not really, but it's ROUSD. But to move all of that volatility, even as a gas token, XRP price has to appreciate over time. And look, that's exactly it. This is exactly the nonsense in crypto. This comes across from X on my account for some reason. I don't follow this asshole. XRP 10 to 50,000. This sounds crazy to retail, but it's the cost of replacing the existing financial rails. Like, this is the kind of stuff. And in 4 hours, it's got almost 16,000 views. That's the kind of trash that gets us laughed at. That's the kind of trash that gives us no viability amongst new retail. That's also the kind of trash that makes it impossible to give the real information and fact and allow you to not overemphasize things to where you own something and you bought it at 30 cents and it's at $5 and $10 and 15, or in our case, we got up to 360. But instead of looking at a $35,000 profit on 10,000 tokens, everybody says it's a pile of trash because it's not 10,000 or 50,000 like these hooplas and fraudsters and fudsters and no talenters and people that should not even be on social media as an influencer are telling you things that get your mind distorted. It literally is the kryptonite to trying to be a good investor. It's the kryptonite to this community. It's also the kryptonite to what I do. So it's kind of a double-edged sword here. Every time I see an article like that, it kills me a little bit on the inside. But at the same time, it's the reason I started this channel on March 24th of 2020 when I was sick of it. So, but that's just, you gotta tune that stuff out. Every time you see that, listen, it's just simple, basic math, folks.
To calculate the market cap required for XRP to hit those price targets, we multiply the circulating supply by the target price.
No problem, guys.
2026, the circulating supply
So you tell me $1,000, it has to be 60.85 trillion. Higher than the market cap of the entire S&P 500. At $100, it's 6.08 trillion, nearly double the total market cap of the entire crypto market at its 21 peak. And for it to be $10, roughly half the size of Bitcoin's market cap in early 2026. I think we can get between 10 and 20. I really do. I think that's what we're playing out to in the long term. But do you think we're going to pull a $4 quadrillion market cap? Let's be honest with ourselves. Right now, XRP is at 112 billion. So we've got to skip the trillions altogether, basically. You don't want XRP to burn tokens. If you burn tokens, it defeats the whole purpose of why you say you're a holder of XRP. There's another weird angle that XRP holders will make. They're going to burn a bunch of tokens. So why do you hold the token then? If they're burning tokens, I don't even want to hold it. The whole point of it being able to run a central banking infrastructure and be the liquidity, not the main mover like ROUSD, but the liquidity backbone. Because you can't change the price of LUSD. It's stable, 1-to-1 to the US dollar. However, you can manipulate XRP's price up or down based on the agenda. So You know, it's not, if we just look at it realistically, we can make hella money with XRP, and we have in crypto, but you also need to know when to hold them. You need to know when to fold them. Turn off all the bullshit or you're gonna go broke. I mean, it's so true. It's not even a joke at this point. Because every single person that fuds it up for you, they're not telling you what's happening in the moment. Hey, everybody, Bitcoin to 250K. Oh, really? Really? Is nobody talking about the fact we're outside of a bearish pennant? I know it looks like a symmetrical triangle, folks. That's a pennant. If it was a symmetrical triangle with a upward momentum, you'd be in a bullish pennant. I hate to break it to all of my beautiful audience, but this is the exact opposite of a bullish pennant, which is classified as a bearish pennant. It came down in a downward flag, and we can do it like this even. You can go higher. I'm giving us the benefit of the doubt and just doing a small bearish pennant. The technical breakdown of that bearish pennant, and we're almost to the apex, so this is a great time if it's going to break down, is 67,005. Yeah, well, this is the target. This was the one. And then for the lower pole, or the actual setup of the pennant itself, the technical target from where it's falling out, we'll give a little bit of grace, like I did with the other one. So you got two targets. If this breaks down like it's showing, 75,657 is the target of the pennant itself, and then of the flag pole is 67,659. I mean, that's the fact that I have 132 people watching and only 76 people hit the like, and I'm giving you the facts. The facts. If I came on here and said, ladies and gentlemen, I know this is a fake out. We're going to 130,000 for Bitcoin in the next 2 weeks. People are, oh my God, I need to share this XRP. You know, it's about to bounce out and go to 260. We live in a funny world. We live in a funny world. Being told by who? Private? By Bearable Bull, who told you 300 institutions. Oh, my favorite guy. We should have, the Bearable Bullshitter. I know, that was one of the main influences. Him, the Run guys, and a couple others that made me do YouTube. Can only take so much of the bearable bullshit before you start to realize it's all hogwash. The other thing is when you go through all these stations, just go through them for me. One day, do a case study. Go from one station on XRP. They will all recite the same bullshit story. Each and every one of them will share the same thing, and they each add their little spin to it. That's all they do. They just copy and paste somebody else who did something, throw it into AI, and then they just put it out there, and they start talking, or they find some stupid Twitter account or whatever that fits the agenda. And they all do the same thing. Oh yeah, Extra Vod was another one. He was another one that was the main influencer. Look at this, guys. We just got the big leak we were looking for. XRP confirmed to 16,000. We got JP Morgan on the back end of this photo with his fingers in the air, the blue tie event. He's got 3 fingers on the coffee mug, which spells XRP. Believe it or not, his tie is blue. You know, Ripple's blue. It's going above. We're going to 30,000 tomorrow. I've made the connections. I did that on Facebook, the blue tie event, and it got 78,000 views so far. No joke with what I just said with that information. And I even put down that it was satire on the bottom so people would know. But it's one of those cool things. I could do it. I've got the personality to do all that. But the problem is I actually want to make a difference in this. The smoking gun's right in front of us. Did you see? Did you see? It's right there. That's not actually a bearish pennant. That's BlackRock with the signal. That's not a pennant. Oh no, that's the stogie. They're smoking a pipe. And you see on the bottom of the pipe, that hole, that's the size of the logo of XRP. You better believe we're going to be smoking in this bull run. See what I'm saying? It's easy. Easy peasy lemon squeeze. Speaking of the lemon, that's no lemon XRP. Oh no, that's not a lemon, folks. That's a golden ticket. Oh yes. You see these humps? That's not a head and shoulders. Oh no. That's the infrastructure being built while retail. Oh, that's Bitcoin, as a matter of fact. Ha, look at me. That's not a downward trend with XRP. Oh no, that's the roadmap to history. So, actually, no, I didn't get the smoke. I had to walk up in a snowstorm. I walked a mile and a half there and back before this live to walk up to the store for my mom and Julie, and then I shoveled the snow. So I'm in a beautiful place. I actually like the that side of me though. When I start to talk like that in a good way, I can imitate very quickly, and I could do it. We could do it, but we put a positive spin on everything, right? On everything. And then they always do the same thing. Are you seeing this, everybody? This is the last dip in history for XRP. This is the last time you'll ever see it at this price. Miss it now. And it's going to be the equivalent of missing, what is it? Missing Microsoft back in the 90s. Are you really going to miss XRP at, what are we at today? $1.84. It's the greatest thing since Wonder Bread. We've never seen a slice this fresh. It's like, thank you, everybody. We got cross-border payments here. It's in less than a second. But what I'm not telling you is there's 17,000 other blockchains that can move money, even fucking Cash App, this quickly. Oh my God. There's less of a delay moving my money from Cash App nowadays into my bank than there is for moving it to a crypto blockchain. What are we going to say? That's bullish for Ripple. You know why? Because we're the new banking. Did you see KFC, the new Phoenix stuff? They're telling you it's not institutional adoption, but guess what? You can buy the old cluckers themselves at KFC fried chicken, Kentucky fresh chicken these days. We don't know what we're eating these days there. But you can use your XRP. I don't care that the price is going down. We'll ignore that it's in a bearish pennant. It's going to the moon tomorrow. Who gives a rat's ass about the chart? Charts don't matter, guys. The chart never mattered. You can't measure XRP on a chart. You ever hear that? Love it. Love it. It's so funny. That's why everybody says the chart doesn't matter. Because nobody knows the chart that they watch. Of course they're going to say that. What's the person they're watching going to say? Guys, I have no damn idea what I'm saying, but the chart matters. I couldn't read it if it went up my ass. I couldn't read it if it was a newspaper in front of my face. That's just the facts. I'm sorry. I'm in some kind of rare mood today. Oh, yeah. You can't. Who said that? Just send it. I'm going to use that. Let's get serious. But just send it. I love that. Everybody knows the XRP chart is useless, pointless. There's no basic logic to it because we have untold, unanimously large utility that you can't measure on a chart. The guys wasting their time on a chart, they're not telling you the bigger story. No, they're not. Look at XRP, the main infrastructure to the whole system. Love it. I love it. Oh, yes, it did. When the U.S. government said, we're the crypto capital of the world, I said, we've jumped the shark. I said it. I said, this is our pump. They got to pump it up because of one thing. They had to pump it up because we were donating to both sides. So whether the Republicans or Democrats won, you had a big rally. But the XRP influencers will come on and say, did you see what's happening? The president that we invested in is the new president, not telling you, hey, guys, we also invested to the Democrats. But then they'll spin it and say, look at that. We've tapped both sides of the market. Or you have one extremely large payoff. What I'm not telling you is I'm full of shit and I talk like this so that you will think everything is good. Look, I'm talking to you, telling you I'm an asshole, but still you're saying, oh, this guy's the smartest guy in the room. Did you see that surge and that imbalance? 94%. Long traders liquidated, which means it can only go up from here. The shorts are about to get crushed. Why do we keep going down? I'm not going to tell you, but did you see that usage of Ripple over there in the fucking UK? Did you see we've been in fintech? I mean, it's always the same story. I could go on and on and on. Drives me nuts. I should start my own comedic channel and just mock all these people. XRP Future Millionaire Unhinged. Channel 2. All we do is we start to reiterate what everybody else says across the media. It's impossible for it to go down. It's unethical for it to go down. It's all a manipulation and manifesto, and the government's against us. And Brad Garlinghouse he's a two-time and canonical piece of trash. And, you know, there's a reason why David Schwartz left. David Schwartz left because he knew the tech was out of date, but didn't that guy create the coding for Bitcoin? And wasn't he the guy who's Satoshi? And isn't the creators of Bitcoin actually the ones in charge of XRP? Well, what the hell is going on? BlackRock and the government, and we've got the World Economic Forum and the IMF. They're all part of XRP, but damn it, all we're doing is funding the exit liquidity, and nobody wants to link up the ETFs. It was the pizza, like Mr. Stott said. No, at some point, when do we call a spade and just say enough? When is it enough? Wouldn't you rather know the price where it's going? The hell with what everybody else says. I mean, for God's sake, all you need to know about the YouTube XRP community is when I said that XRP, like I said this a couple years ago. Brad Garling, I don't know if I kept the video up or if I had to take it down because so many people were taking it seriously. I think I took it down because it got up. It was, oh my God, it was so crazy. Because I just did it was just supposed to be just to show an example because there's no way that I kept it up. No, I had to delete it. So basically what I did was years ago, if anybody was here, please let me know. But I did a story and I even told everybody it was, so I did it and I said, breaking news, Brad Garlinghouse abducted by aliens and extorted to trade XRP for kryptonic currency. And this is going to change. So, and I showed it, I made the stuff. And when I did it, I said, if you want to be part of this kryptonic currency that's replacing XRP since Brad was extorted by aliens, send $1. And I created a fake PayPal. And people started sending $1 to my PayPal. I couldn't believe it. There was like 75 different people that sent $1. When I sat there and I showed it on YouTube and I said, listen, guys, I need to refund every single one of these because this is impossible. This video had like 10,000 views in like 3 days. And I literally had to take it down from Facebook because I thought they were going to take my channel down because like I'm trying to extort money from people. I could not believe it went around like that. And I'm like, it was unbelievable. Oh, it was great. I hustle harder than you. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Me and Tom's under 3+ months with the XRP. Meteor says Q and Riddlers are in control. Don't look at the USD or XRP charter. Oh, don't worry about us shutting off your car. Trust us. Schwartz is not Satoshi and he is not a genius. The XRP ledger was a copy-pasted contract written in Solidity. I didn't say he was. I was tying the points that people make. That was satire when I was saying it, or was it? But anyhow, I understand what you're saying. What did Meta say? Oh, Snake Claver. But Jake Claver said that XRP will be 6,000. Oh, well, that's another guy that everybody listens to. But go look at his lawsuit that was taken out against him. He actually had people invest into his own little XRP thing, and he basically stole the money. Oh, there's a lot about it. I just don't talk about it. But anyhow, let's get back into the charts. I can only do so much satire for one day. It's already been an hour. Oh, my God. So, I mean, in the 45-minute, we're not seeing much reversal. I mean, everything seems a little frozen here, to be honest with you. It's almost like we're making a decision here. Are we going to get another sell candle, or can we actually come back up and retest this basic drop? If it's going to do something, it better do it now. That's all I'm going to say. You know, a lot of people, I see a lot of people questioning other people who bought it so much more high, so high in price and things like that. Um, but a lot of people that buy it and they say, "Oh, this asset's a pile of shit." I don't understand why you own it, like, or why. A lot of people who are mad are the ones who bought in 25 after we were plus $2 and $3, especially, and 3.50. You know, where if you bought, this is what I always try to tell everybody. If you buy it at $1.85 or 2.50 or 3.20, where were you at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 cents? How come is it so appealing to buy at 3.30, 2.75, 2.20, $1.90? But it wasn't appealing to buy at 35 cents for the better part of 2 years, or 50 cents for 4 years. I don't understand. Like, and then people get mad. This thing's a pile of shit. No, you just bought at the wrong time. Remember, timing to me is more important than time in market, because timing the market gives you the time in the market. It's simple. Most people say it's all about the time in market. Bullshit. Bullshit. It's about timing the market. Now, if you want to talk about time and market to lose your entire portfolio to get it to where it needs to go, well, that's something different. Because then we just say diamond hands, never sell. I'm in it for the rest. If that was the case, if you were really in it for the long term, you would have bought it when it was in the bear market. It's the truth. Most people who say they're in it for the long term, who bought it in the middle of a green run, they were watching it in the bear market. Now they have to justify holding it. I'm telling you, this is the human psychology. And if you need to learn more about this outside of the charts, join the classes that start February 2nd. We start in this side of town before you ever look at a chart. We go over. So if you have struggles, and we're going to go deep and hard, it's going to go deep. It's going to be uncomfortable. But to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. And as a collective unit, we're too young to get comfortable. We're too young to get complacent. Like I always tell you, I'm too damn young to be complacent, so I have to make myself uncomfortable so I can grow. And so are all of you. So if you want to learn more about the human psychology, market psychology, even from a economical standpoint, all the things before you ever start investing, you need to join the classes. Not many people are joining, but we have some. We have 18 people, I think, which is more than enough to get it going. And then we're going to have a nice database built so more people will watch later. And then they'll jump in on real time because it's just something I'm going to do. I can't tell you the days yet because February 2nd is a Monday. So it's going to be a Monday as one of them. And then just by the case study during, what I can see in the first class, I'm going to decide. And you don't have to worry about being there in real time if you can't be there, because it's all going to be posted in real time. So after the live is done, you'll be able to see everything I did from Zoom, because it's going to be in a professional classroom setting, except I'm giving you the ability to not have to pay for Zoom, and you'll be able to watch the live on YouTube. That's why I did it that way. So you wouldn't have to do a third party and have to do Zoom and have to pay for storage and all that. I'm going to save it all where YouTube will allow me in real time, but I'm going to run it through Zoom, the live. So it's going to be an interesting, the live is going to start on YouTube, but you're going to see me on the Zoom settings as if you're in a virtual class. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I can't wait. You'll be able to see me in a new light. Let's see. Yeah, right now, though, the technical target's on Bitcoin, unless we can break out of this. We set this up the other day. But even to a deeper level, I mean, from a deeper standpoint, because of what we built up, I mean, we might have to pay the piper here pretty quickly. We've got many different levels here where it started and where it could break and how it can go. I'm going to be inclined to show you the basic area as well in this chart, because it's like 83,000 or something. These are the basic drops of the short-term setup from yesterday to 86,696 roughly. The wider drop would be 83,787. We've speculated that maybe we could be in a descending broadening wedge, but for this to be true, the caveat here, for this to be true, this is going to have to come all the way down and tap right around this 80K area and hold. If that's a descending, broadening wedge. However, the way this is going, it's obviously an expandable, but you see how it didn't come up here? That means that it could break our thesis because it didn't come all the way up and we pull in the head and shoulders. So this is where it can break that theory. That's why you have to look at it deeper. Because by it forming that short-term pattern, it could, in fact, keep it out of there and have a deeper bear flag that drops us much lower than we were anticipating. You know, if you were looking at it from that perspective. It brings this full perspective into play. And the fact that there's so much that is wrong here. There's so much that is wrong here that is validating a bearish pennant that if you're on the wrong side of this, it's going to be ugly. Like when I say, I'm going to say it, ugly. It's going to be like jumping into a mountain when the lava's coming up. It's going to be a quick liquefaction. Like if you're in crypto leverage, you're going to be liquefied. Good or bad. Lord of Drink was new to crypto and inexperienced. That's why I bought at 3. I've learned a lesson. Took a 10% loss. Now look what I'm watching. You know what's funny? The best thing you ever did was take that 10% loss. Would you sell it around $2.70-ish? Is that about right? Somewhere around there? And now all of a sudden we're down $1 almost from where you sold. So yeah, you might have took it on the chin. But at least you called a spade and said, listen, I was inexperienced. I bought it at $3. This is my, guess what? When you hit it in the pocketbook, that's learning with your money. Real money, when you do things like that, is real learning. You can't learn unless you have a stake in the game. So that's the only way to learn. So you sold 10%. So that put it, yeah, about 270-ish. That's about 270. So you sold it for a 10% loss. The ironic part is I don't know how many tokens you had, my friend, but from where you sold it, ironically, because of what you did, you might have lost 10%, but on the 90% you have left, you get to buy it for 31, so 69 cents on the dollar right now. 69 cents on the dollar. So let's just say, and this is not true, but I don't know how much you have, but let's say you had 10,000 tokens for argument's sake. You bought it for 30,000. You sold it for 27,000. Now you have $27,000. Remember, you had 10,000 to start. What would it be? Divided by divided by 1 point. What are we at right now? 80. What the hell is the price XRP in real time? We'll just say $1.85. And this is what I always try to teach. So now, yes, listen, my friend, you lost 10%, right? But assuming you had 10,000 tokens, what you actually did by selling it out and losing that $3,000 in the beginning, you actually allowed yourself to own 4,594 XRP more. Even though your money's down, because you had the wherewithal, even if you were to buy it now, you've got 45% more XRP, even though it looks like you took a $3,000 loss. That's something that's going to be taught in the classes in a big way. That's something I try to teach my audience. It's not an apple. An apple is not an apple. Your portfolio might go down, but remember when you bought in and you wanted it for a certain price and you wanted a certain amount? This is why I don't short the market. I, in fact, liquidate the market in certain cycles. And I talked about this for weeks to do this. So it's not like I'm just saying it today, but that's a brilliant move. That's a brilliant move. Happy Fox says $100 silver is unrealistic. We will remember this era that they've rigged up. Oh, yeah, I could not disagree with you more, Happy Fox. No. The rigging era is ending, and the amount of silver they need to use in industry, you just don't understand what silver does. That's a fudded up station. This could be the era that you remember that silver at one time was in double digits. We may never, ever have a floor After this, however we decide to consolidate here, this could be the last time we start consolidating at the $100 or below level. So I disagree with that. Vehemently disagree with that. That's what they want you to think, that it's all rigged. They've been telling you since $70 that it has nowhere to go but down. Everybody has. Look at all the people shorting it. I was the one accurate person when it got to 83. I said we can go to 69. That's where I'm targeting. And if it goes to 66, so be it. And it hit 69, went back up, and I said, well, either we go to 66 or 74 is the floor on this dump down. And it went to 74 after the 69, and it never looked back. Tom, have you seen the paperwork filed by Samsung with the SEC to start unloading silver because they moved to graphite? Not deeply. I'll have to take a deeper look into that. Buy a crypto that has lower total supply loot. There's nothing wrong with that. That's good advice. But I'm not saying that silver can't have a big drop. It's just, I think that in time it goes much higher than where we're at right now. And I think we're going to look back at history. And like what the U.S. meant, putting up the Silver Eagle for this year to 175 is not by design or not by accident. You know, crypto dumping during this whole thing. I think the greatest farce ever pulled was everybody was listening to the U.S. government say crypto is the key to generational wealth while they put a wall over everybody's face in the metal opportunity. Would just present opportunity. It would, but the thing about Samsung is that they can offload some of it and with the graphite, but Samsung, that's exactly it. And they need 1 kilo of silver. So instead of them needing 1 ounce of silver for this project that they've created now via that battery that somebody just talked about, they actually upped it to 1 kilo. What was Jordan saying? I wasn't in the market then, that's why you don't understand. I don't know if that was targeted at me or not, if I missed an earlier comment. It wasn't some of it. It wasn't some, it was a sizable amount. It's interesting. We'll have to see where that goes. We'll have to see where that goes. Why do people cry about the price going down? You can make more money in the market on shorts than you can on loans. Do it all the time. Love when the market is bearish. Well, because it goes against hopium, my friend. And when every station is telling you that it's going to go up. But like for me, I don't like to short the market. I like to basically, if I'm making good gains, I like to pull the profits and pull the holdings and wait for it to go down to that 10, 15, 20% correction or even farther. And then when I buy it back, I've got all this extra money or all these extra tokens. And then if I decide I want to pay myself something, I can take it out of that. But usually I'll just keep it in the account and just have X amount more. Just this drop here has given me several $1,000s, if not more, of liquidity opened up. You know, just on these drops. So I'm going to be able to adapt my position even further. And the good thing was with XDC, I was able to make some money on that push up because we knew exactly how it was set up. And we just rewrote it in the proper positioning. Once it gave us the signal that it was done, when it came up here and got rejected, we knew. Up, up. And then we talked about if it didn't hold this, you ride it from down here when it had this inverse head and shoulders. You might not have got the top, but you got the break back down point. So you rode it up from right around 3.9 back up to about 4.2. It's not a huge gain. It's not huge. That's about 7.5%. But now you didn't get the 14% or 15, but you got 7.5. And now from that sell point, it's down another 7.5. So that's a 15% move you just had. Do you see the question is, do you see that industry stopping regardless of those facts? Oh, absolutely not. I think the silver stuff is still There's a lot of fluidity to it. And I don't think it's by design risk assets are dropping like this. Like some people are like, nobody could have ever known it was going to drop like this. And I always secretly laugh on the inside a little bit. It's like nobody. I can think of one very strong community that not just the one who started the community, but the ones within the community also were aware. So how is that even true? Because we see it. That means, in fact, nobody could see it coming. If only one could see this coming in this fashion, that means that somebody could see it coming. It's like when they give Peter Schiff shit. Nobody could see the financial collapse. Nobody could see the miners going up like this. Nobody could see the gold and silver. Well, Peter Schiff did. Mike Maloney did. I did. And I'm not even as smart as them. Not by a long shot. I'm like the every man and woman who understands knowledge like these really famous people. And I was able to niche out something in my own community by some miracle. We have over 49,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And it is a miracle. It's a small miracle. Because I do things 100% different. And that's my niche. My niche is I don't do what everybody else does. I do my own thing. I don't look at anybody else's. I don't care. And the fact 135 of you have stuck to it this morning is brilliant. I always talk about when the market moves down and starts crashing, people come back to my channel. They especially come back when it's really green. But a lot of people come back for the solitude when it's going down because they know they're going to get the proper information. They know when they come in here, they're going to see the right levels. They're going to see what's important. They're going to know, like, oh my God, Tom, how bad is this? And now you're looking. We've set it up in every which way possible. We knew it was a bearish pennant. And again, a bearish pennant with how it was set up. And I know it's created a couple different looking patterns that we stay in real time because you want to mark up your chart. Listen to MQ when he says, you mark the chart up, damn it. The more markings, the better. So, but we were in small symmetrical triangles, which are neutral continuation patterns, which if you put it in a bearish pull down, it becomes a bearish pennant instead of a bullish pennant. And it's not fun by design, folks. And then ultimately, you can still come to this chart and say, well, it could technically come to $1.60, which would be, or $1.58, which would be great. Because not only does that hit the bottom of that, but that's also, unfortunately, where the descending triangle support triple bottom would be. And unless we do something where we bounce out of it, the breakdown will be to 84 cents roughly. And the crazy part is, and I like crazy, I like when things add up. We had a pattern from 2017 all the way until November of 2024. In the back test, as we overextended this just to kind of show the new play that could happen, the back test never happened. And you know how much I hate when that doesn't happen, that we know in the future we're probably going to have to come back before making another push up. But that would be a drop to 86 cents conveniently, roughly, or 84 cents. That would be a perfect back test of that pattern. And I've even shown it a step farther. What if we did have an overzealous sell down, and then we came back to the all-time pattern, and we validated this uptrend for the first time since the big breakout. Now we backtest the move finally for the first time, solidify this uptrend. And would that open up even bigger numbers? That's really the only way I could see us, you know, from a technical standpoint, opening this up in such a way. Now there is the argument that if it came way down here and broke through, you reset, and that nobody wants to see that. So now we look, if it breaks down, we would look at the back test of the overall pattern that broke us out. So I feel for anybody who really listened to all the FUD, because I talked for 2 years since 23 when we bought, and even when we got the gift in 24 in July to buy more. And I was very honest. I took $5,000 out of what wasn't crypto, and it was supposed to go towards, you know, my miners whenever they hit the floor. And fortunately for us, at 38 cents, it worked out. We were able to sell it well over $3, able to put that back in the miners in January. And it just worked out so perfectly. But I feel for the ones who listen, because I called it for everybody and said, when we go to all-time highs or maybe a little above, we have 7 years of people backed up in this position. what's going to happen is so many people are going to take profit that we're going to drop 50, 75%, 80%. I said it was going to be at least a 60% pullback minimum, which would have put us around $1.40-ish at best case scenario, which we've already done that once. Worst case scenario, we come back down into that sub dollar and retest all of those gaps that were left on the overzealous move up by a fake crypto bull market because of all the people invested in the Republican and Democratic side. They had to be paid out so we get this euphoric pump in 25, a little bit into 26, and then it bleeds for a year. And then it continues to bleed until we get into midterms. So what would make most sense is that this continues to drop down. And by the time we get into the second and third quarter, it starts to round the bottom. And then by the time we get into midterms in December, you have all markets banging it out, especially crypto because he's the crypto president. But remember what I said about that. If you only remember history, he was the biggest crypto skeptic when he was the president the first time. Hated crypto, everything about it. So you kind of got to run with the headline. So there's going to be significant gains to be made, but it ain't right now. Unless we get some significant reversal. And we've already dropped so far now. We're down like XRP. Just XRP is getting murdered from its high this year. Or last year. It's murdered. You want to talk about blood in the streets? We're down 50% even right now. We were as much as, on this chart, 67, but we're 50% down. So anybody who says, Tom, we're supposed to be in a bull market. Do you understand market analogy? When you go more than 20%, you've now moved out of corrective territory, and at least in bear market. Once you get to 30, it's a confirmed bear market. We're still at 50. And this is part of a correction back up from lower and trying to consolidate. That's a huge non-bull market, which means the trend is down. The trend is not our friend. And when you start forming bearish patterns and then symmetrical triangles on drops, that's a bearish pennant. If you want to know more about that, I encourage you to join the classes. I encourage you. No, you would think that Happy Fox, but he's not the gold standard of gold marketing. He also does a lot more than just that. He's the one who taught me about emerging markets. He's the one who taught me about these other ways to do things. You know, it's not, he's the one who taught me about miners, which to a person who's supposed to just pushing gold and silver bullion, that hurts his selling ability because he's telling people how to make riskier trades. That can hurt him. But at some point, this market's going to find the volatility. It's just we have to find the floor. And I'm not willing to compromise and say, oh, it's starting now. We've got to find where the proper place is to start this. Eventually it will. You too, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't actually tell you that. Like, there's no way I can just say, hey, this is what you need to do. That can open me up to litigation that I'm not going to open myself up to. But, you know, you've got to follow these charts. And if you buy, this isn't a trader's market. So if you're buying, you're coming to the observation of your own self-accord and you're saying, okay, well, if I buy here, I'm okay with whatever happens from here. And I feel like this is the floor. The problem is our technical targets out of these bear pennants aren't even close to hitting yet. So unless we invalidate it, which can happen, and we have a gap up to 192 on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange CME close, the gap close on Friday. So we'll just have to see how this plays out, to be honest with you. Tom, one midterm pump, October, November, December. Also, where will XTC XLM algo stop dropping in this drop? Best guess. Thanks for the $5 super chat and the over 1 year with the I told you so badge. Well, XTC, it's impossible to say what you want me to, but I've shown it. If it falls out here, you're stopping around 2.24 cents. And you've fallen outside of this basic consolidation. So from where we're at, if worst case scenario, I mean, you're talking about a better than 42% drop, which doesn't even seem to make sense for XTC, because my problem with that kind of a drop would be it invalidates the pattern. So what I'm watching for is that maybe, just maybe, it just needs that 8-9% more drop down to what looks like, if you look at it like this and avoid this and just say this is an anomaly hit, this was just overzealous movement, this could be a descending broadening wedge, descending broadening channel, some would call it, but I think it's more of a wedge because you have this outward and downward, which means that maybe we could create a floor somewhere down 3.6, keep this long-term inverse head and shoulders open, which is what we need to do at all costs. We need to keep this inverse head and shoulders. So coming down here is not good, in my opinion. It invalidates whatever this is we were doing here. And if that's the case, we're resetting. And that's fine, because then it would look like this. And it's not the end of the world. It's just, man, do we have a lot of despair coming across the market even more. If this was a fake out and it comes down here, see how it resets? You no longer have that inverse unless it pulls up on a quick V, which is possible. It would have to be a quick wick. But now all of a sudden you'd go support resistance. So then maybe it would have to take a very long time. But what I suspect could be happening is it's either we're going to start an extension somewhere like this, or it's going to be somewhere like this. Somewhere we're going to start some kind of where we can't come down any farther, and we end up coming out keeping that validation. Is that 8% or is that 16 to 20%? I don't know. That's what I'm waiting for. But something in my gut tells me it's going to somehow not invalidate this pattern. And either we come down here, or we come down here, which doesn't invalidate it. It would actually be a back test of the neckline if you come through like 3 cents roughly. So that's what I want to see. Because my gut says, okay, well, this is great, but at some point we're going to hit that hostile reversal zone. And XDC at least gives us the benefit of being first. And XDC could be where a large funding goes. You know, and it's a perfect example. Riding algo back up to 13 and then just letting it ride to the downside, you know, without holding. H-bar being up as well. H-bar was up to 12 cents on that move, a little bit higher on that fake out. 12.8, 13.3. That was the rejection point that should have told you everything right here possibly. But then we had another rejection here. So there was a lot of opportunity. Now it's 15, 20% down. So you can find yourself having that much more. That's why I keep saying I'd rather be out of the market instead of in the market, especially, you know, when we have the possibility, because you can always buy it back to the top side. Who cares if you lose a few percent? It's worth risking a few percent if it's going to drop 20% possibly, or 30%. Like right now, we're in the midst of a pretty rather large drop. We just went up for XRP to $2.16 in this fluent market. You could say all the way to 240, but that was a couple weeks ago. Just last week, around the 12th to the 19th, we went up to $2.17, $2.19, 18. So you're already down 16% from there. From the pattern rejection point, which was a very clear rejection right here, and it was pretty simple to expose it. It's down 23%, 24%. And I'm not mad at XRP. I don't expect anything. But what I do know is if I time it right, so not the time in market, but timing the market will allow me the time in market that I crave. My history, if you go back and look at it, in 21 when I started, we were buying it before the bull market rally. In March of 21, XRP, and then a couple others. We sold it at the bull market top on the right shoulder at $1.66. I implored my audience to not buy XRP until sub 40 cents, and we built it out. And then in 23, we seen they were doing quantitative tightening. They were going back to lowering rates, and it took about 3 months of a cycle for it to start breaking out again. We had to fake out for a year, came back down. So we were able to wait it out. So we bought the bottom, sold the top, bought the bottom, sold the top. Now we're looking to buy the bottom again. Third time's a charm because we nailed it the first 2 times. Been able to do some swings in here, but when we find this ultimate positioning now, when it's the time, this is going to be the one that makes or breaks it. This will be the one because of the difference in portfolio, because of what we've been able to do, because we were able to time gold, silver, and mining stocks in the bear markets. Our wealth has gone up exceptionally high just from that factor, from moving our profits from crypto over, which is something that's unsung to the new crowd that watches me. We actually, my motto was take the profits from the risk asset in 21, and in 22, throw it into gold and silver bullion. And then in 23, take the profits from that run in early 25 in January and throw that into mining stocks. And I did it. Some of the audience did. And the miners proceeded to go up 3, 4x on some up 1 to 2x, some 6x from January, as there were cryptos down anywhere from 60 to 85%. So, you know, there's a lot of things we can do. There's a lot of things we can do. But at the same time, if we can build a bottom here, I would like to say, hey, we're building a bottom. I just need to see the evidence. Otherwise, we keep getting caught up in these 3, 4, 5, 6, 8% drops after very small moves. Even year to date now, we've completely wiped out the gain for XRP year to date. Over 1 year, we're down 37%. Year to date, it's creating an error now because we were actually up. Remember when XRP was up by like a decent margin this year? We've given it all back. So no matter, anybody who bought this year is underwater. Despite a nice little rally to start the year. Everybody's underwater. Anybody who bought in 25 is well underwater. Anybody who's bought in 26 is underwater. Or even. You might have eked out a 0.01% gain if you're one of the lucky ones. Hey, did I see somebody join live classes? Holy crap. U23. Thank you so much for not only joining Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Make sure you look on YouTube so you get into the exclusive Telegram, my friend. That's for even the members at $9.99. But this is a loving community. We do a lot of stuff. There's so much stuff going on here that you got somebody who speaks leverage with MQ. Very dedicated. Very in the moment. We've got Nick and his category right here with, where's Nick's? The Technical Lounge with Nick Morales. He's Furby Trades in the Telegram when he's in here, but everybody works too. So thank you for joining the classes, my friend. I really appreciate that. You made me the happiest person in the world today, knowing my message is getting out there. And seeing 138 people still here makes me super happy. Defined welcome in. I really appreciate you, my guy. Such an influential part. Very, very trusted mod in this community, whether here or in the Telegram. Remember, guys, what we talked about here. If this is a flat bottom here for today, so because we have that gap up higher, let's see if we can build a short bottom here. But you're going to know if not. If this stays below this area, which right now we're below the point of no return. So at the very least, we got to be back above that area. Get back above $1.85. Otherwise, the drop's going to be down. So if we can hold this, it's possible we could make a return back to $1.90-ish, which would make sense, $1.89. Because the futures market closed at $1.92. But we still have a technical drop to finish off here if this continues to stay outside of this area. So, you know, be cautious. It's the same thing that I put in the Telegram. If you're part of the Telegram, I talk about it in YouTube, but in real time, I could put it on the Telegram for our beautiful members. And I talked about it on Friday. And I talked about it for a while, but then I talked about what I did. Let's go back. So on January 22nd, we talked about the patience for XDC out moved up. We'd have a bullish reversal looming. And it did. The problem was it got rejected right when it reversed a couple days ago. And then I said on the 23rd, be careful. A lot of bearish pennants appear formed. Lack of volume says this isn't likely going to end well. I'm being very cautious. These feel like bearish pennants, not financial advice. Being safe with capital for now. See if it proves my feelings wrong. So that was my hint that I was stepping out. Well, I had already stepped out for the majority, but you guys know the deal. I talk about it in the lives, but I just started to give little hints. Even when we were talking about the bullish possibility, we still talked about the biggest concern in the weekly time frames. Many show a bearish doji reversal, and this was back on the 17th of January. Also known as a long leg doji, just like XDC a week ago. XDC fell 20% in the next 7 days. Prepare for a dump unless proven otherwise, cautiously optimistic. You fast forward by about 8 days, and we've dropped that 20%, if not more. So, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, I don't believe XDC is the anomaly. I believe that it's giving us the ability to see what's going to happen by being ahead. And sometimes you have to look at the breadcrumbs. After all, they give us breadcrumbs, but most people ignore the breadcrumbs. XLM fell outside of the initial symmetrical triangle formation that we tried to identify. Resistance, resistance, and then this, let's see. It's supposed to be something like this. It's a small symmetrical that it was shaped, but I want to, it's so small though, this area. I mean, we're going to break down out of it, it looks like, but we need to make this measurable so we can get the proper area. So If it stays below 20.5 cents, would be a bearish consolidation confirmation. However, there could be the ability to come back up like we talked about the retest, but right now it's below it, so we have to look at it as below. So short target would be somewhere around 19.1 cent. And then the longer, if this is a bearish pennant, you have to measure the flag of the bear flag, which is how it becomes a pennant. It's a bearish pennant. But it's defined by being a symmetrical triangle, but it's on the downward direction. Now, one could argue that that's more of a flat support, which if it is, that's even worse. It gives you less potential, but I still believe there's a slight incline here. So I'm not willing to just say it's a descending triangle, even though they're both bad. I think it's slightly upward, which makes it a bearish pennant, which doesn't make it any better, believe me. Either way, it's not good. Descending triangle, descending bearish pennant, or a bearish pennant or descending triangle is both bearish. So initial target, just like we showed for XRP, if it actually is breaking down, initial target would be 19.1 cents. The flag pole measurement says the technical drop target is down here at 17.7. Let's extend this out, which was the falling wedge. Ironically, if you extend it out, it actually hits that as support. So that would be like your make it or break it line. If it falls below 17.7 on a drop, you are looking very, 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 very ominous for continuation down. So that's where we're standing right now, folks. That's where we're standing. If you appreciate my work, consider joining Tom's Army to pay it forward and become the most exclusive sponsors you could be in any community. As my members of Tom's Army exclusive sponsors of this show, they allow this to be, as you can tell, no ads during the live itself. I do turn them on when it's in replay so that they'll try to circulate it more. I have to remember to do that. But during the lives themselves, been on almost 2 hours, not a single ad because they're not on. And I intend on keeping it that way and not have main sponsors as long as the members of Tom's Army continue to sponsor me in the way they do. So if you're wondering why you should sponsor this beautiful, amazing program, it's so that it can be for you, by you, funded by us and all of us. And we can do it the way we want. Can you look at algo? Sure. Algo's at 11.42 cents, down 3.71%. Fell outside, as we were talking about, that symmetrical triangle, which was better known as a bearish pennant. And, I mean, we can just look at the short target here. We won't even look at the flag right now. It's something, this has to be pushed back. But it's still the same measurement. I'll just push it back. And it comes right down basically to this bottom support, right around 11 cents roughly. On the first tap here would be right around 11 cents roughly. Now I could make the argument we have something bigger formed, but I just haven't shown because I don't really want to piss people off. But if this is a breakdown of what should have been a flag, because it's clearly broken down, like let's not kid ourselves here. Right now, this is clearly broken down. This needs to be adjusted for something like that. You could do something like this just to make yourself feel better, which I will, just so it won't be as low as a target. You can see how it perfectly came back and rejected right here, which is not a good sign at all. So you see the short, we'll put both measurements on there. Let's take the arrow. But obviously you have to do it from the breakdown rejection. So this got you into this formation. However, where the problem begins, if this isn't a big flag pull, that's a big bearish flag. So there's a pull either way. But now all of a sudden, if we're not taking this as a flag pull up, we're taking it as a flag pull down, which means that if this actually broke down, the technical target would be a little bit deeper than it's showing, folks. You know, just a little bit deeper. So you got one of two things that could happen. One, much like the rest of the market, you have this initial breakdown out of the pennant, and you only use the pennant to get you down to 11 cents. Or the bear flag, which is the flag pull measurement, and that's spooky. That's 9.5 cents. Well, when you come down there, finally we would have exsolved this. So then if you start to speculate, this is in my head where I say, okay, If we did something like that, I'm very interested for one reason. If this comes all the way down like this, just hear me out. And it creates, although we would still have to be sure because it would be a much larger neutral continuation. But maybe, just maybe, this would be how you form a floor. And instead of continuing down, you would have to look at that. That's where I'd start looking. But if it breaks 9.5, now all of a sudden you come to the actual technical support, which could this just be speaking to the overall push back down here to 7.1? We circled it here before, but it went around. But would it come down to 7.1 and fill this entire pattern out? Which would be support, support, support right here, which would complete that part of the pattern. And then you could look at it much wider, which we could do in the future, but then it would start to bring out some of the higher targets. So what are we trying to do exactly here? Because it would end up being something bigger. This entire thing would be bigger if this is what we're looking at. It would be more like this. See this? So is that what we're playing in, which means the floor is actually 7.1 cents? It kind of feels like that's what we're doing. So that's what I'm being cautiously observant about. I really am, because I can see these wider, much more bullish patterns setting up if we give it the proper time. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I got to go into the living room. My mom's still here. T and all of them are together, so I want to go out there and be present. Yeah, totally awesome. Facebook Messenger, is there a more preferred way for us to talk about it and the collab? And thank you for the $5 super chat. Are you not in the Telegram? I'm assuming not, but send me an email. Send me an email at strutregali@gmail.com. And when I don't know if you have Zoom, but when I get my Zoom set up fully, because it's going to be paid this week, I'm going to be paying for it, for when February starts. And that Juju Fish is the account I'm using on this tablet. It's under Julie's name. So I can see how my live looks for everybody. Send me a message, and then once my Zoom is available, I will send you the link for my Zoom so we can talk as well. Can you post your email in the chat real quick? Yeah, I just did under Juju name. Totally awesome. I'll type it one more time, but it's under Juju Fish, the strutregali@gmail.com. I wonder if it'll let you copy. I don't know. But yeah, define be safe out there, because same here. Lots of snow. I already had to shovel about 4 or 5 inches, so. But anyhow, let's just watch this play out. Let's see if we can get a pullback towards 189, or if $1.84 roughly is used as a resistance. Right now we're floating here, so we'll see what happens.